Hello and welcome to VNA News Daily Bulletin. Coming up next, we have your top stories.
Prime Minister Xuan meets Germany's Hessen State Minister. Second-hand smokers are seriously affected by family member smoke. Young Hanoians help revive folk games.
Prime Minister Nguyen met with Germany's Hessen State Minister of Science and the Arts, Boris Rhein, in Hanoi on May 31st. At the meeting, Prime Minister Phuc voiced his pleasure at the development of strategic partnership with Germany, one of Vietnam's leading partners in Europe. He said Vietnam always attaches importance to cooperating with Hessen State, considering it a model for collaboration with foreign localities. Boris Rhein said the development of bilateral ties between Vietnam and Germany is based on the two countries' similarities, including both sides' effort to overcome the consequences of wars and their priorities placed on education and technology training. This is a foundation for the establishment of the German University in Vietnam, he noted. The Vietnamese leader highly valued the training results of the newly established university. He said both sides should do more to consolidate the traditional friendship between the two countries. Deputy Prime Minister Trịnh Đình Dũng on May 31st had bilateral meetings with leaders and representatives of Japan's leading group on the sidelines of the International Conference on Asia's Future. We joined him to see how his trip is processing.
At his meeting with Hiroshi Sakuma, Executive Vice President of Mitsubishi Corporation, the Deputy Prime Minister calls on the corporation to expand their operations in Vietnam, especially in infrastructure, supporting industry and agriculture. At the reception for Eiichi Tanabe, Senior Executive Vice President of Mitsubishi Corporation, Dũng recommended the corporation accelerate existing projects and pay special attention to the environment. In his meeting with Takashi Yamauchi, President and CEO of Taisei Corporation, the Deputy Prime Minister appreciated the corporation's contributions in infrastructure, with more than 400 projects in Vietnam.
On May 31st, Vietnam hailed the U.S. Senate's approval of a bill that would repeal the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Catfish inspection program. Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình said this is a right move, manifesting the U.S. commitment to bilateral and multilateral trade with Vietnam and being in line with new developments in the Vietnam-U.S. Comprehensive Partnership, which was reflected through the visit by President Barack Obama. Vietnam has for many times expressed its concern over the program, as it is wasteful and unnecessary and is likely to become a non-tariff trade barrier, violating the World Trade Organization's regulations. Vietnam called on the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. administration to make next step to fully repeal the program. Moving on to other news, the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement will create a boost for trade and investment between the two sides. Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade Trần Quốc Khánh made the remark at a seminar on opportunities brought by the agreement for businesses in Hanoi on May 31st.
Two-way trade increased from $6.3 billion in 2003 to $41.2 billion in 2015, making the EU one of the leading trade partners of Vietnam. Statistics from the Ministry of Industry and Trade showed that Vietnam's exports to the EU in 2015 were valued at $31 billion, while its import value was over $10 billion. EU enterprises are running 1,809 projects in Vietnam, with a total registered capital of $23.16 billion. However, Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade Trần Quốc Khánh said that Vietnam has yet to fully tap its export potential to the EU. Vietnam's export value to the EU accounts for only 0.75% of the bloc's total import value. Mauro Petricioni, Deputy Director General of the European Commission's Directorate General for Trade, said that the agreement is an important step in the roadmap to intensify bilateral trade and investment. Both Vietnam and the EU agreed to make efforts to complete the ratification to make the agreement effective in 2018.
An exhibition displaying maps and documentaries affirming Vietnam's sovereignty over Hoàng Sa, known as Paracel, and Trường Sa, Spratly archipelagos, opened in the central coastal province of Quảng Nam on May 31st.
The exhibition introduces 150 maps published by Vietnam, China, and Western countries, together with 60 maps and hyphenated posters, 4 ancient atlases, and official documents dated back from the Nguyen dynasty, among others. Particularly, a number of visual documentaries are also being shown as evidence of Vietnam's sovereignty over Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa. The event aims to enhance public awareness and responsibility of protecting the country's sovereignty over seas and islands. It also recalls the sacrifice of generations to guard those seas and islands, and confirms the Vietnamese party, state and people's determination to firmly preserve the nation, as well as sea and island sovereignty. The event will run until June the 3rd.
The Royal Australian Navy warship, known as HMAS Anzac, is on a working visit to Vietnam. Our reporter will bring you more details.
A crew of 215 officers and sailors on board were welcomed by representatives from the Municipal People's Committee, Military Region 7, and the Navy High Command, along with those from the Australian Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City. Officers and soldiers from the ship are scheduled to pay courtesy visits to leaders of the Municipal Department of Foreign Affairs and Military Region 7. They will meet their counterparts from the Vietnamese People's Navy to participate in sharing professional knowledge of communications and joint exercise at sea. The guests will also participate in friendly sporting events and visit beauty and historical sites in the city.
Smoking can cause serious diseases not only for smokers but also for those breathing in secondhand smoke. Statistics show that about 600,000 people die of passive smoking in Vietnam every year, 64% of whom are women. Nguyễn Thị Hạnh from the northern port city of Hải Phòng is hospitalized at Bạch Mai Hospital's Respiration Center. Her bronchial asthma is the consequence of breathing in her family members' cigarette smoke.
My husband is a smoker. When he smokes, he tries to keep away from me. However, I still suffer from asthma, which makes it hard for me to breathe, especially at night.
The Respiration Center is giving treatment to nearly 200 patients suffering from lung-related diseases. 70% of them are male smokers. The hospital's free helpline for smoking rehabilitation receives nearly 30 calls a day, 30% of which are from women who want to help their family members quit smoking.
They know that smoking not only harms smokers' health, but also affects other people in their families.
Smoking is the leading cause of preventive death. It is reported that mortalities caused by smoking accounts for 1/10 of total global death. With 15 million smokers, Vietnam is currently among ASEAN's top 3 and the world's top 15 nations with the most smokers. What is noteworthy is that 2/3 of women and children in Vietnam are second-hand smokers. During the National Non-Smoking Week from May 25th to 31st, the Vietnam Women's Union launched a campaign on encouraging non-smoking homes. Reducing smoking among men means reducing passive smoking among women and children. As smoking harms people's health, it is urgent to develop a non-smoking environment. The Ho Chi Minh City tourism sector has made good preparations this year to attract international visitors, but more new attractions are needed for them to succeed. The tourism sector has spent a lot of effort and time to carefully prepare for festivals and improve service quality. Tourism activities have been accelerated this year with the holding of the Áo Dài Festival and Southern Color Festival. According to the City Tourism Department, 1.38 million international visitors came to the city in the first quarter and spent 25.8 trillion Vietnam dong, $1.15 billion, 12% and 9% higher than in the same period last year, respectively. They came predominantly from the Republic of Korea, Japan, and the US, but also included a lot of overseas Vietnamese thanks to the Lunar New Year that fell in that period. The number of visitors arriving by ship increased by 80% to 9,000. Last year, the city welcomed 4.6 million foreign visitors, accounting for a full 50% of the number coming to Vietnam, who spent 94.6 trillion Vietnam dong, or 30% of national tourism revenues. Folk games such as rope skipping and bamboo jacks seem to have fallen into oblivion in such a modern society. However, over the past month, a playground has been created in Hanoi to revive these games. On the occasion of International Children's Day, June 1st, join us on a trip down memory lane. The children board game Nguyen or Mandarin Square Capturing, Tug of War, and Bamboo Jacks are traditional Vietnamese folk games that are making a comeback to the excitement and joy of many people right in the center of Hanoi. This is part of a project titled My Childhood Memory, which is run by the young people of My Hanoi. Held every weekend, the project has drawn the participation of crowds of Hanoian citizens. Simple as they are, the traditional folk games with elastic strings and gravel have always had their own attractions.
The project started with our passion for the traditional values of Hanoi and Vietnam. We found that despite the interesting values, these games are not popular in modern life now. That's why we want to bring them back to the community.
Joining the project, people may be surprised at how eager and curious the kids feel while playing these old games instead of roller skating or computer games.
I like folk games because there are many friends playing with me. It's much more fun than playing computer games. I'd like to come here every weekend to play with my mom.
This is the first time Trương Tú Anh from Dong Da district and her daughter have participated in My Childhood Memory. By joining the project, she found a meaningful playground for her child. She also found for herself a ticket back to the past, to her childhood memories.
I feel very pleased that my child can play healthy games. Children now hardly play such games, but are lost in computer games or their phones, or confine themselves in the house.
Foreign visitors are also attracted by the simple folk games. They find themselves joyfully playing with the elastic strings, stones and sticks.
They are really great. We are looking for that since some minutes, and it's a really great spectacle, I think. It's really good for the children. Because it's Saturday and they have some free time and they can enjoy it here. In Germany we don't have such things like that, yeah.
My Childhood Memory not only helps bring back the traditional values to the children, but also awakens the hidden national spirit in them, contributing to preserving the intangible cultural heritages of the motherland. We have come to the end of our news program. Thanks for watching. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.